Welcome to the Queen's Orthopedic Residency Program. We are a 5-year program with 4 residents per year. We take 2 CMG residents, 1 IMG resident, and 1 foreign medical graduate per year. The residency is broken down into 4 stages. The first stage is the foundations and surgical foundation stage. This, we have maintained a lot of our off-service rotations, which we have found beneficial. These include plastics, neurosurge, vascular, and ICU and emergency medicine. We also include all the orthopedic rotations on the services that we have here at Queen's, as well as a community rotation in one of our local partners. These include the A service, which is sports medicine and upper extremity. The B service is arthroplasty and foot and ankle. C service is pediatrics and spine. And then the D service is the trauma service. We have an iterative system in which it's spiral learning, so you're seen by each service every year of the program. And what that allows is you get to build on what you learned last year and essentially level up every time that you go through each service, which is over a 5-year period. You're going to have a lot more experience because you don't have an isolated rotation in foot and ankle. You have it every year. One of the other unique features of our program is that residents at Queen's take call using a night float program or night float system, which is condensing call into a block or a month. For 1 resident per year gets to do that block. So that is one of the other unique aspects of our program.
So I do bike to work all year round. It's a 7-kilometer ride to KGH and slightly shorter to Hotel Dieu from where I am. I have studded tires for the winter, but it's doable all year round. Our program serves as not only the largest local program for hip and knee replacements for citizens of Kingston, but we're also the tertiary referral center for the region, so we receive complex primary and revision arthroplasty cases from the surrounding communities, Belleville, Brockville, Smiths Falls, etc. We have a strong academic program with, as I said, primary and revision arthroplasty. We have ongoing research, especially with the gait lab. We're fortunate to have a fully functioning gait lab at Hotel Dieu Hospital, which gives us the ability to pursue research related to how patients walk both before and after arthroplasty procedures. We're also in the process of acquiring an orthopedic robot, so we'll be able to add robotic-assisted hip and knee arthroplasty to our portfolio, which will be, I think, very exciting from the standpoint both of teaching and research.
I'm Mina Tauhidi. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I'm a clinician scientist, which means I get to spend half of my time doing research and the other half doing clinical activities. I did my residency training and my fellowship here at Queen's, so I come with a lot of Queen's experience, and I loved it here, so I was happy to start here as staff. As a matter of fact, I had 2 kids during residency and fellowship here, and I found that everyone was very supportive of starting a family in residency. It was a great time to be able to add that to my life. One of the strengths of our center is strong collaborations with other research groups, including the Gait Lab and the Division of Anesthesiology and Perioperative Medicine. And part of the research that we do is to combine forces and combine strengths and to work with other teams that offer unique research across the country.
In terms of our subspecialty rotations, Team C is split up between pediatrics and spine, and we really do see a broad breadth of presentations from sports and ACL reconstructions to scoliosis deformities to complex hind and forefoot corrections. One of the benefits of being a smaller program is that you really get to know your fellow co-residents so well. So during the summer we have anatomy days every Thursday, and afterwards we all get together to go out for a patio, which allows us to sort of connect outside of work and make those friendships that are going to last for years to come. I love living in Kingston. Personally, I live 10 minutes away from the hospital, so it's very convenient to walk back and forth. I'd say our night float is very reasonable. You do have support from 5 to 10 p.m. with a junior resident and then a senior resident who will come in if we're operating at night. So you never feel alone, and our staff are very supportive and always there.
Another unique feature of Queen's is that you're involved in the trauma team, which means anytime there's a trauma team activation, the entire team assembles, which is nice from an orthopedics perspective because you're not just focusing on kind of the orthopedic side of things. You get to see the whole team in action and watch what it looks like to resuscitate a traumatized patient, which I think is good learning for everybody. So I think a pretty common misconception about the program and a worry for Ultimo programs is that because it's small, it means the volume's not going to be large and you're going to be missing out on those big complex cases that you're going to see elsewhere. I can tell you that's not the case with Queen's. If it's in our catchment area, which means complex pelvic cases, long bone fractures, open fractures, pretty much everything that you'd want to work on to get comfortable in trauma, you're going to get it here.
At Queen's, we go through upper extremity, hand, and sports rotation, which we call Team A, and that starts from day one. We go through this rotation every year, and this allows continuous skills development for managing acute and chronic sports, upper extremity illnesses, and pathologies. We also have extra rotation in R4 for sports rotation. We also have, in terms of academics, we have indication rounds that are weekly, that are multidisciplinary, which includes plastic staff. They are resident-led or sometimes staff or fellow-led. And we also have a monthly rounds with radiology, which are MSK rounds. And we have access to an arthroscopy tower in our ortho lounge, which we can access every day.
Coming from like an international background and trying to kind of mesh in, it like happened pretty seamlessly. And I think that is the benefit of it being a small program. You don't kind of get lost in the kind of masses.
You get all the benefits of a small program and all the kind of softer cultural, all that kind of stuff, but then you're not sacrificing anything in terms of your trauma volume, education, potential for fellowships afterwards, teaching opportunities.
No, I don't think there's any concern if you wanted to do a fellowship here that you wouldn't be getting like a first-class fellowship training.
The fact about all our off-service in first year really proves the early surgical exposure because yes, there's other people in ortho ORs, there's other residents and fellows and various people that are in those ORs. When you go off-service, so we do vascular plastics and neurosurgery in our first year, you are very likely the only resident on the service, if like at least in the OR, if not on the service.
We have a very active emergency department that has us involved in everything from reducing dislocations and fractures to minor procedures in the emerge department. And we have a robust call and trauma rotation, which means we're getting lots of trauma exposure. We're probably better prepared for that aspect of community practice than a lot of other programs are, I think.
Speaking as one of the female residents in our program, we have a really good ratio this year especially. So we're now 5 women in the program, so we're now at a third. I think that's an important thing to look at when you're a woman entering the field. So we have a very supportive culture from our male colleagues.
I chose to do my residency here at Queen's for quite a few reasons. I'm originally from the west coast of BC, from a super small town. Going through med school, I realized that massive centers just weren't for me. The nice thing about Kingston is there's a ton of things to do inside the city, but it's so easy to get outside the city and it takes so little time that tons of trails. If you like hiking, you're a big trail runner or anything like that, it's no more than 10 minutes, you're outside the city center.
I hope this has given you some insight into our program. This is a unique program, specifically because it has a very small faculty to resident ratio, which really does allow everyone to get to know each other extremely well. Finally, I hope that this has answered some of the questions that you might have had, and I look forward to seeing your application soon, and see you at Queen's.